All right, everybody, welcome back to another video of On the Break. This video, we're going to be covering another good game that we had between the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks took game two in New York to tie the series up 1-1. So, Trevor, what do you think about from that game that we saw between these two respective franchises?
I think that this game kind of sums up both franchises. Both franchises are uh, nitty gritty, and they're gonna really fight to the buzzer goes off. So I think this game too just shows the DNA of both teams. Of course, on the New York Knicks side, they have they have Thibodeau, who's their coach, which that has been a consistent theme of teams that he coaches, and you have Eric Spoelstra on the other side. That is a consistent theme of teams that he coaches. Uh, of course, Jimmy Butler did not play because of that ankle injury that he got in game one. But I was really impressed by how the Miami Heat played, especially in the first half. Every single starter had just about the same amount of shots. So what that tells you is that they're moving the ball. Everybody's involved in the offense. Everybody's getting shots. Everybody is flowing. And I was really impressed with Gabe Vincent. I think he really stepped up and showed how good of a player he is and his value to a team. But I just feel like it was a great team effort by the Miami Heat. Caleb Martin stepped in uh, for Jimmy Butler in Jimmy Butler's absence and put in 22 points on 8 for 15 shooting 50% from the 3-point line. So I think that was big. But going to the New York Knicks, I just feel like they just showed what type of team they are coming back late in the game to get the win, following in behind Jalen Brunson, who seems every time he gets into a late game situation where it's close, he just takes over and finds the mismatches and is able to get buckets. I feel like Julius Randle had a good game coming back off of his ankle injury. Um, you know, he's gonna take certain shots where you're like, ah man, but I feel like he's done better with that, especially in with Jalen Brunson being there. And like you always talk about, RJ Barrett did a good job of scoring the basketball. He had 24 points. So um I think it was a really tough game. I feel like New York made the right plays down the stretch, and Miami just kind of I'm not gonna say ran out of gas, but it just Jimmy Butler not being there, I think, kind of caught up to him because he's the guy that they go to late in games and is able to get stops or make baskets. But I'll leave the rest of you though to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I kind of look at this matchup with this series similar to how, a lot of people look at football. Like when they talk about the trenches with that line, like I feel like this game is really going to be decided in the trenches as far as physicality. We know what the New York Knicks bring. It's a lot of banging and just a lot of force that they bring with their toughness on the defensive end, even when they play offense, get offensive rebounds. Guys like Randall and Josh Hart, who's really good at that. There was a sound bit of him saying, "You telling Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart told him, you get regular rebounds. I get rebounds that take away the team's heart."
Yeah.
Referring to the offensive rebounds, and he did that again last night. So it seems like they kind of just know how to stick to like their identity. After losing game one, they were trailing, and then they came back as a team and rallied together. Like you said, I feel like Miami did miss Jimmy Butler being able to close out, that game. But I think, with them doing what they needed to do, get that game one, that was very big. I kind of look at it similar to how Philly is with Boston. They got that game one. Both teams' main guys have injuries. You give them more time for rest. I think this series, game three, won't be played until Saturday. So That's crazy. That's like a 3 day rest that you get for Jimmy Butler. It's an ankle injury, which sucks, but he'll be able to come back and do what he needs to do. I feel like with his play style, he'll still be able to be effective even with an ankle injury. He's not the guy that's going to just dribble the air out the ball. He'll set himself up, mid post, or he'll even try to like bury somebody under the basket. He uses his size and his frame very, in a very smart way that won't, I think that his ankle won't really affect him. But like you said, the leadership of Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, his physical force. I feel like Mitchell Robinson's presence inside, Josh Hart's ability to play that role. I feel like he's kind of had the same type of, responsibility since a college player at Villanova. RJ Barrett is doing very well. I feel like attacking the basket. He had a great night from three last night, 5 of 9. I feel like New York has what it takes. You would have liked to have gotten both games, but Miami has been very, very seasoned this playoffs. It's I mean, we haven't seen uh, teams as far as seeding this low advance, like this,
this
and
far. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen this. You have an 8 seed, a 7 seed, a 6 seed, and New York was a 5 seed. So I think the experience and leadership and mentality and toughness is really showing to be, to prevail in this playoffs, and we're seeing it in all these series.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point that you bring up, and that's why I think that this was the best first round that we've ever had in the NBA playoffs because of the amount of competition, the number of upsets in terms of seeding, and in quotation on the upset because you can argue some teams were better than others, um, not just looking at the seeding, but no, I definitely agree with you on that. And to your point about the rest and the amount of time between game two and game three, I think that's going to be beneficial for both sides. Of course, Jimmy Butler is going to get the rest and is possibly going to be able to come back for game three. But um, I think that is big for the Knicks with Jalen Brunson and his ankle um, issue going on there, and then also with Julius Randle coming off of an ankle injury, and I think it's going to give both teams, enough time to get their health back and try and make a good push for this game three. And also something else that you talked about with Josh Hart, I think he is a big addition. I think for both teams, they had big additions throughout, before the playoffs. And Josh Hart is definitely one of them for the New York Knicks. I think that was a big pickup. He does steal the heart from teams with those rebounds he gets. I mean, they're just great rebounds. He's probably the best, if not one of the best rebounding guards that we have in the game. And for the Heat, Kevin Love, I think he's been great for the Miami Heat in terms of providing shooting, providing rebounding, getting outlet passes to players and all that good stuff. And honestly, I feel like the Heat, if they are healthy, they have a really good shot to even make it to the not only to the conference finals, they could get to the finals, and that's really crazy. Like you said, for an 8 seed, but I think the difference between them in the regular season and the postseason is just their ability to hit shots in the regular season and even in the first game of the play-in tournament against the Hawks. They just didn't hit shots. They couldn't shoot from the perimeter very well, and that's why I was not very high on them coming into the playoffs. But for whatever reason, they just flipped a switch. Duncan Robinson being ready. I mean, that's pretty great too. Him being taken out of the lineup, didn't play much this season, and then of course injuries, and he's coming in being able to provide some production for the Miami Heat in the playoffs. I mean, it's just pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, that is something to notice too, because I was one to mention about the Tyler Hero loss. Like Duncan Robinson staying ready and not being bitter. I think they said like inside reporters said he was one of Tyler Hero's biggest supporters. You also got guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, who also took minutes away from him. So him being like ready and willing to still do what the team needs, because you can't just go out there and not give effort. Like you have to
Mhm.
be locked in. And I think it might have also kind of helped him see like what he could be better and improving as far as getting more minutes and just being able to regain that trust or have enough trust for Eric Spoelstra to still put him in the game was very big. And you mentioned Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle's injuries. Like, I don't want any catastrophic injury, but with this series, bro, I can't imagine that there won't be any more nicks and bruises just because, that's how both teams are. Um, New York had a lot of success of out physically and just being more equipped to win those physical battles against Cleveland, where Miami is going to put up a lot more fight. But I just see this being a very entertaining. A lot of old heads will probably love watching this series.
Yeah.
They like to say the NBA soft or whatnot.